Hey guys, this is John and I'm playing Wolverine in the 3-minute poll on ICC. Not gonna lie, I just had a really big meal right before this game. And I know you're not supposed to play chess right after a big meal, but I just could not help myself. It was between taking a nap and playing 3-minute on ICC, and guess what won out? So we'll see if the blood is rushing to my stomach or my head this game. He's choosing a setup that is pretty dangerous against the Scandi, but fortunately I've played it before and I kind of know what to do, so I don't want to put the bishop on f5 for fear of this f3 g4 plan he plays. So what we're going to do is, let's actually go a5. I'm going to try to play b5, obviously, and like trap his bishop. Yeah, he does this to stop it. But I could play b5 as a pawn sack right here. That would be kind of interesting. I might do that. It seems slightly unsound, but let's first play e6, though. Let's do that first. If he plays h5, I think I'm actually happy to take this pawn. Well, maybe not happy to take it, but I probably will take it. I'm threatening knight g3. Wow, this guy's going all in. Okay, so he's just sacking the exchange, and he's going to try to play against my king, of course. Okay, now I'm going to do this as a way to distract him a little bit. This is a player, I've actually seen Chess Explained play this guy quite a bit, but I can't recall playing him. I think this is a good move to simplify. Because now I'm threatening b2 and his queen. So he has to trade. My pawn structure on the king side is kind of a wreck, but I am up the exchange. Knight f4, interesting. So he's attacking this pawn. Now, how much do I stress about that pawn? It's hard to defend anyways. I might just want to let him take it. Yeah, let's just let him take that. If he takes on h5, I can go knight b6 at least. Attack his bishop. He backs off, and then I can complete my development, at least. All right, let's push a4 and try to go a3. Knight e4. So he's zoning in on this f6 square. I can play f5. f5, he might go knight c5, though. Don't know if I like the look of that. This is somewhat annoying. Okay, let's go bishop c6. He's playing quickly and putting a lot of pressure on my position.
Check.
Okay, we'll take that.
Check.
King here. Yeah, bishop there. Gotta run with my king. What to do, what to do? Let's go here. He's not threatening anything towards my king yet, is he? He could try to lift his rook to h4 and go rook g4, but I don't see a mate per se out of that. Let's do this. I don't think taking there was a good idea. Doesn't look that way to me. How about knight a4? Seems good. He can move his bishop, though. Bishop e5. Okay, maybe knight here now. Bishop c4. I can go knight d7 if I want to try to break up this bind that he has me in. Yeah, knight d7 might be good. Let's say bishop c4, knight d7. He's just taking there. Okay. Let's take here right away. And I think this move. This is already a fairly crazy game.
Check.
Let's give it check, then play this. He can bring his knight back to f6. This is true. My time is going to be a big factor soon. Let's do this. Attacking with our king. He's going to play d4, I'm guessing. But that prevents his king from ever running to d4. He backs off. Okay, let's do this now. He can play rook h5, though. I'm going to take that.
Check.
Just to safeguard our position. Okay, now if he attacks e5, I can play f6. It's going to be a race against the clock, though.
Check.
Let's see if I can get something going. If f4, I have rook g3 check. Let's go here.
Time warning. Check.
Okay, that was a big blunder by him. He was trying to set up rook e7 mate, but he blundered into mate himself. Yeah, he resigned. I think he has to play probably just rook b7 in this position. And then I was planning on rook c2. So for instance, we back up a move, rook b7, rook c2, because he still can't play bishop b4 because of take. So maybe he goes, I don't know, bishop e1. Seems like I should be close to winning, but I'm not sure, because if ever I play this, he has this move. And I'll have to deal with the threat of rook e7 mate. I get all these checks in, but, well, at least one check, but this seems somehow drawish to me. Let's have a look. So this particular line of the Scandinavian can be dangerous to black. In fact, in other videos, I've played into white's hands a little bit. Like, so for instance, if this bishop f5 move, queen e2, e6, f3 is pretty dangerous. And they're just going to go g4, and they gain a lot of space on the king side, and this bishop has trouble too. So this is, I think they call this the short variation, queen e2, named after Nigel Short. So instead I played queen's back to c7, queen e2, and then g6. I think this is a good reaction. I mean, black does get a slightly passive-looking position, and my bishop is not emerging from c8 yet, but it's a safe line, and with opposite side castling, it's always going to be a dogfight. I think he might have got too eager to attack with h5. I mean, I'm pretty sure this isn't sound. I thought his idea after h5 and I take was to play g4. Trying to swing his queen over to h2 perhaps, especially in the event of knight g3, because this is a pin on my queen on c7. He's threatening to take here. So if that had been played, I would have had to go back to f6, but at some point he can play bishop h6, kind of like in a Sicilian dragon, and trade off that dark square bishop and get an attack going against my king. So I'm pretty sure g4 would have been better. Let's just turn the engine on and see what it says round about here. h5, knight takes, yeah, g4. And it gives white a pretty decent advantage. Knight f6, queen f2, striving to go to h4. Yeah, this would have required some accurate defense, and my position might not be good. Rook e8 here. Doesn't help that my queen side is not out of the starting gate yet. h5, yeah, this is risky. I wonder if I went wrong right around here after h4. I was thinking about b5 first. That does stop him from playing a4. So I was thinking about this traditional way of preparing this, but I thought he would play a4 anyways. But maybe I shouldn't worry about that so much, huh? Here, if he takes, I assume knight c5? No, a4, according to the computer. Interesting. So if bishop takes, we take here. That's cute, because if knight takes, we can actually play rook takes a4. And he doesn't have time to take our queen because of mate. So, yeah, I might have gone about this pawn storm on the queen side in the wrong fashion. Thought I was being tricky by playing a5, because occasionally you'll see people play a5 first with the explicit threat of b5, bishop b3, and then a4. This happens like for white in the Gioco Piano, or Pianissimo a lot. Like white will have a pawn on c3, black has a bishop on c5. And instead of going b4 to attack the bishop, they'll first play a4, threatening b4, bishop b6, a5. It's the same type of thing. So, yeah, and actually the computer thinks h5 by white is such a significant threat that I should expend a tempo to stop that and also threaten knight g3. That makes sense because now knight g3 is a legitimate threat. There's no queen h2 response. Could he go g4? Knight g3, queen here. I assume bishop e5 might be good. Or just defend. Okay. Yeah, and I win the exchange, apparently. In the game, I didn't have the benefit of doing a move like queen d6 because the h-pawn was gone. He would have mated me on h7 if this line had came up. So it seems like he was doing well. He just didn't have to sack the exchange. Just g4 would have been good. So now the computer likes black. Possibly I overreacted by playing b5, but it did simplify the position. So, and it leads to a very messy position. I give back 1 point of material to get the queens off the board. I had some trouble with his minor pieces, though. I mean, this pawn might be good as dead, so it's unclear if I'm even doing well material-wise pretty soon. I guess I did win an extra pawn, though, at the beginning, because when he played h5 and I took, and he took with his rook, like, I'm up in exchange plus a pawn, so I'm ahead 3 points of material. So giving back one pawn might not be that bad. The engine thinks bishop a6 is a better idea. Okay. Attacking his knight. So I did this. I was happy that I got several pieces out with tempo. A4. Bishop c6 might be better to limit the scope of this knight. So I can take it if the knight lands on e4. Pushing the a-pawn seemed disruptive, though, so that's why I did it. Now bishop c6. It likes a3, huh? So if knight ef6, bishop takes, knight takes, king g7. Oh, this is actually not hanging. For some reason, I thought this was hanging the whole time. But I do have my knight defending it. So I can insert this, huh? And then take. Black's a little bit better. Okay. So I played bishop c6. He gave it check. And I guess I should not take it. Huh. Yeah, in a blitz game, I think taking is what you're going to consider first if you're black. The engine likes this line. King h8. Rook h1, threatening mate. This appears bad for black, but I have this move. Defending h7, and also eliminating one of his knights. Take, and it seems to indicate that white has some decent compensation, though. My position is a little ragged. He's only down 1 point of material now.
Check.
So I did this, king g7, and now it's very messy. Yeah, knight g4 might be even better, because then he's threatening bishop h6, or bishop c3. Okay, yeah, I could see that. That looks like a better way of playing it. Bishop c3 is hard to resist, though, especially if black has to respond with king g6. But I think I did a good job of drumming up counterplay here. a3, take, rook takes, trying to get at his bishops. Bishop b3, knight a4. I thought about knight d5, but knight a4 seemed like a better way of assaulting the bishops. What didn't I like about knight d5? I can't recall. I think I didn't like bishop takes, but I'm seeing now that I can actually play rook takes c3 and defend this bishop, and then this knight will really be under attack. So maybe knight d5 was a bit better than knight a4. One point I have is that if he does this, trying to fork my two rooks, I have rook a1 check, just winning. Picks up his rook, and his knight will be hanging. So he played bishop e5, knight c5, attacking his bishop. This seemed like a suspect move. I thought he was going to play bishop c4, because the bishop does do a good job of controlling a1. So if he plays bishop c4 and stabilizes, I think I probably would have done this. I had mentioned this, a possibility to exchange the knight during the game. And hard to tell what's going on in this position. The computer says it's equal. I might prefer white here in a blitz game. I mean, he's probably up a little bit of time at this point too, but even though black is technically up 1 point of material, these bishops are hard to deal with. I feel like my rooks are not coordinated. He can go king d2, and he has most everything guarded. So yeah, I'd like to play white in this position. But fortunately for me, he did something worse. He played knight takes h7.
Check.
I took here. Apparently this is a better attempt. Just getting the rook out of attack. That's a good point, because now if he were to retreat his knight, I have this rook a1 move. It's backed up by the other rook, so I get to skewer him and win the rook, win the game. That is a good point.
Check.
So knight takes b3 instead. He takes here. So he had a nifty king b2 defense, attacking both of these. I see, and that might save a pawn for him. Interesting. Now I have 3 pieces hanging, so I can't save them all. Rook fa8, take, check. King here, take on g2. Black's still better. This is kind of like the game. In fact, that might exactly be the game. Take here, here, check. Yeah, except his king went to e3 rather than c3. So now I did have a strong sense that I was better, but he had about twice as much time as I did. I want to shake the coordination between his dark square bishop and knight, because it's possible he can create some strong threats with that combined with the rook. So that's what I was trying to do with king f5. And then rook d8. Knight here. Yep, take. I guess I was under the impression that he could play this move. Because in the game I briefly looked at, I don't know if I had mentioned this, but in my head I had looked at this.
Check.
And then he takes here. But now I'm seeing that I can just take his knight because I played e5, so I disrupted his bishop's defense of the knight. So e5, he dropped the knight back to e4, and I played take.
Check.
Took this way. Yeah, hard to say. I mean, I feel like black is very close to winning this endgame, but
Check.
I'm not entirely sure in that final position. Rook b8 is better. Okay. That has the same threat as what I did, rook a3, but it rules out rook b7 as a defense. That's a key difference. And then if he goes b4, I assume I attack his bishop. Yeah, and it's hard for him to defend because, again, at bishop e1, my rooks are coming in. And if this bishop ever leaves this diagonal, it's mate.
Checkmate.
So what can he legitimately do? King d3, I would assume, or g3, attacking this. Yeah, this king is caught between a rock and a hard place. Can't go back here because he would lose the bishop. This is winning for black. Likewise, it's important to realize that if f4, I have rook g3 check. This is similarly bad for white. King d2 check. And I win his bishop. So he played rook h7. I went in here. Yeah, and he has to play rook b7 now. It's the only move. And then what was I considering? Rook c2. King d3. Rook f2. Yeah, there'd be some work to do for black in this position. Don't know what my winning plan would be. It's hard to say right now. My advantage dipped a little bit from a couple moves ago. And he can check me too with his rook. So it'd be tough to win after rook b7. But fortunately he played that and it's just mate next move, so he resigned. Okay, so I do think this is the proper way to handle this line for black. Not putting the bishop on f5. Like d3 is much trickier than people give this move credit for. Because a lot of times white wants to use the d4 square. When you think about it, there's not a whole lot of advantages to putting the pawn on d4. In fact, it gains a little bit more space in the center. But d3 is a much more dangerous move, I'll tell you that. It's insidious. So thank you guys for watching this game, and I will be back tomorrow with another Blitz video. Talk to you guys later. Bye.